What's going on, guys? Welcome to the first video of featuringcode.com. The reason I'm making this video is because I had to work on an Angular Universal project, and after reading the documentation on Angular IO, I thought that it's a plug-and-play project because it really didn't have that much information about what I wanted to do, and I thought it had it covered by design. But as I started to work on it, I realized that no, it doesn't have it covered, and I had two main issues that I needed to fix. The duplicate HTTP requests and the way to send data from the server to the client. So let's get it on. I provided an Angular starter project. You can use it, you can take it from here. And this project solves these issues and has some extra implementations on it. So the one with the duplicate HTTP requests, it's let me close this. The way you solve this is by using the transfer state HTTP cache module and the browser transfer state module. So in your app.module TS, you're importing this module and the transfer HTTP cache module, and in your app server.module, you import the server transfer state module. This way, when you're on the project and make an HTTP call, you won't see it on refresh on the client. So this call is made here in the app component on the users. We get the API/users, and this is only made on the server. The next problem that it solves is sending data from the server to the client. So this also on the page refresh or just throughout your app, if you need data that is computed on the server, you need to make this available somehow on your client. And the way you're doing this is by using these providers in this app get, and provide a value in an injection token. The injection token is something that I created. It's an app-based URL injection token that you find it here in the tokens TS file, and it uses a value that is taken from the .env file, this base URL. Oh yeah, the way the reason I'm gonna get to that later. So I'm sending this app.base URL file, and this way I'm having it available in the project. You can inject it with an injector. If we're going to the interceptors, HTTP interceptor, this is the way you're getting it. So I'm using the injector. This is a constructor that has a transfer state service, an injector, and a store on it. So I'm taking this value with an injector, with this injector get. This is the platform ID, but also this injector get the app base URL, the one that it's here provided. And if it's on the server, this is something that you're using from Angular Common is platform server. It's a function that is using this platform ID. If it's on the server, I'm setting the value with a transfer state service in the transfer state, and then on the client I'm getting this value. And if we're here, this also selects GUID that it's set on the store, and it adds it in the headers of the request session, of the request, in the header of the request. This transfer state service is something that it's added from, I've taken it from this guy, Brian F. Love, and it's an implementation with what I needed in order to set data on the server and get it on the client. So you find the transfer state service here in the services file, and it has the logic that you need to get and set and check if you have a key set on the server. Also on the app module initializer, I'm using here a state transfer factory. In this factory you can set data on the server, but also you can get data from the providers. So for example, here if you would have a logged in user that you need to send, like from a session ID, if you're using Redis or other mechanisms, you can provide this in a token, like is user authenticated, with a value taken from rec.session.bearer or something like that, and in your app initializer transfer state factory you can get the value the way it's done in the Interceptor. So you're using this transfer state service get from the this injector get from on the server, and then you set it on the transfer state and you get it on the client. So in order to make this work, you get the value from the injection token that you provided in the server, then you set it on the transfer state, and then you get it also from the transfer state. On this state transfer factory, I'm creating a fake GUID. On the server, I'm setting it in the transfer state service, and on the client, I'm getting this from the local storage if I set it, if it's there, or from this transfer state service or actual GUID. And then I'm setting it in the local storage. This way, whenever you refresh the page, you have the same GUID for that browser. And also here, I'm setting the GUID in the store. The store is found here in the store folder. The reducers is the main file that it's used in the app.module. So it's implemented here. It has the store module and the store DevTools module implemented also. The reducers is practically the state of your store with all the reducers on it. And it has also a meta reducer on it, which is like a middleware for the reducers that you can use to add other reducers on it. So for example, here it has the example from the NGRX store, the debug reducer, which console logs the actions that you're dispatching. So this action that is dispatched in the state transfer, the set GUID, you can find it here, and the value that is setting. Okay, and what else? Let's see. It has also a middleware, so whenever you're making calls on the server to the API, it creates a proxy to another API that it's declared here. This is just a dummy API that I found on the internet. But this clears the coarse issues that you might have, especially if you're working on a local host. If you would call directly an external API, you would have a coarse issues, but this way you're calling the localhost / API. This is implemented here in the interceptor. It's the app-based URL that you're calling from the injector and from the transfer state, and it creates this and also adds on the header this fake GUID that I created. And this way, when you make a call on the client, you're calling to localhost / API / posts. Has the ngrx store on it. It takes values from the env. It has a .env installed on it. So in the package JSON, you're gonna find a .env. It has the .env installed here, and in the server, the .env is imported. Another difference from the original project is that the server is split. I'm importing the app function from its own file that you find here in the server folder, which is a function that creates an express server and attaches middlewares and the routes on it. This is better organization because here in the server folder you can add other controllers that you can call through your server routes. It also has an API gateway that you can use to make Axios calls on the server. Another thing that it has an Angular SVG icon module. This needed some implementation. So this is the whole implementation on it. It's this module here, and why I put it here is because it took some while to implement it because the documentation wasn't clear, and it has also some gotchas. For example, on the SVG server loader, you're importing this node modules from a node, from the path node, and usually TypeScript was giving errors, and the way I fixed this was by adding the types in tsconfig app.json, and I also added them here in case you're running tests. Another thing that also provided some errors and with no clear documentation was how to import the CSS files in your components. For example, importing these variables SCSS. And the way you're doing this is by changing in Angular JSON the style preprocessor options, but not in one place as you would usually do in an Angular client-side application, but in two places. And this one was pretty hard to find. You need to add in the server build this object of style preprocessor options. If you without this, Angular would throw errors on the server, and you would have errors in the console, and the app wouldn't work. So this is something also that is missing from the documentation. And also we're having ESLint set up on the project. The ESLint, you can add the rules on it, and it's good to have this so the whole team can work on the same rules. For all of this, you can find links to what middlewares are used, the transfer state service, or blog posts from my own blog on how things are set. For example, this here, the import, and so on. Guys, I hope you enjoyed it. As I said, you can find the universal starter here, and I hope you find it useful for your own projects. Thanks for watching and see you next time.